Alright guys, you win some, you lose some. Well, we had a lose over the weekend. We were doing a bunch of stuff trying to figure out this rear suspension. Ended up having to move our shock crossmember back a little bit so we could clear our cap right here, give us a little bit more room for the suspension to come up. And then also our shock brackets that we made. I didn't think about how they're parallel to each other, but they're skewed at an angle like this, and then they're also tipped at an angle like this. So the bolt holes don't line up between the two plates, so I had to make all new shock brackets and change that around a little bit. That's going to go on the rear end. And then we noticed the big problem with our lowered ride height. The angle of our upper bars is horrible. So the angle of these upper bars at the ride height, we're kind of fighting a whole bunch of things at the same time. So the rear end is bigger than a 10 bolt. The housing is bigger with this fabricated housing, so these ears are up higher. Also, the car is so much lower than it was before. We had to bring the rear end up to get the car to be as low as we want it to be, and more so because we're using a 335/20 tire on here. So a 335/35/20 tire, so the tire is taller, but we still wanted that low ride height. So we had to move all this stuff up in there so far that we created a terrible bar link angle on the upper bar. So what we're going to do now is cut some more stuff apart. We're going to cut these that we made out of there, get them out of the way. We're also going to notch the top of the rail here, and we're going to bring some plates up on the side with some different bolt holes so we can move our upper arms so our angle will be more like this. And hopefully we can clear the body. If not, we got to notch the body just a little bit, but we'll end up capping all this off, and we're going to cut some more stuff apart and make some more mounts.
In case you wanted to know, even the camera guy wears PPE.
Alright, we got some templates, everything made. We cut this top center part out right here for our link bar to go through here. And then we put our templates are in like this. There's the body, remember, sits right here. So this is hopefully going to clear the body work right here. The link bar is going to go in here like this, and then we'll bring that up a couple inches now. Get that link bar in there, and going from our angle where our factory mount location was like that right there, and this, moving that angle up over 2 inches is what we're doing here. So we're going to have that link bar way up here like this, and then we'll just cap it with these cap pieces like that. We'll tie all this in together, and then the link bar still has enough travel to go up and down without hitting the body, and that should take care of our link bar situation. We still got to pocket this side in because there's a brace that goes from here to here that has to go in that factory location down below, so there'll be a bolt up here for the link bar, but we also need to retain this one for the bracing that goes here, because if we raise that up, we'll have to notch the seat pan underneath there, and we'd rather not do that. I think this is gonna work.
So these are the new brackets that we made for the rear end here to mount the shocks, iteration 2. Just drilling the holes in it, and then we'll have to make the block to hold the shock and everything. So this is, I tacked both of these together so that way I can drill all the way through them. They're different here because they're going to be sitting on the rear end at an angle. and because of that, these don't line up, which is on purpose.
I am cutting out the upper link bar mounts out of 3/16 recycled material here. And then after this, we're going to take it to the sandblaster, clean them up, and then we can use the technique we showed you before for clamping them together, and then we're going to grind them so they can be identical.
And we know that these top link bar mounts pointed way down would have been absolutely horrible, would have put our instant center like diving into the ground right here, which would have been a horrible thing. So we raised the rear suspension, the upper mounts up on the rear suspension now. So we cut the whole cross member apart right here. Now I'm just templating out all the steel that we're going to cut out for that. We also made some upper adjustments for it, and they're on an arc, so we could just change that position of the upper control arm mount if we go to the drag strip or whatever we want to change something. We do have a couple adjustments now. This was a factory location right here, so we moved this up right all the way to here, and by doing that we're going to just hopefully clear the floor pan of the stock cross member in the floor, so hopefully we won't even have to notch into the floor. And then also there's a brace from the factory that goes across like this. Of course our QA1 kit comes with way nicer ones and everything, but we still need to utilize that bottom hole as well. So we're just going to get to plating and boxing all this off.
I'm mocking this up just so I can see, because we had lowered the ride height in the rear a little bit more. I want to see where this sits compared to where they had it originally set up. So I'm mocking all this up, just sitting it in here, putting all these together. And tip, which I found out, you have to make sure that you put these on first while I fumble with it here, before you put it in the controller. Otherwise you can't get the bolt in. But QA1 made these sweet little plates so that way everything goes together easy. Afterwards, this guy goes on there. My plate drops right in here and lines up with these holes. There's your lower shock mounting. So we're not putting springs or anything on it either, so we can still move it throughout the travel. See what it's going to do. Your upper control arms, like so. You'll grab a spindle. Alright, so now that I have the spindle here, set this guy in there. And again, this is just all for mock-up, so everything's loose. Just in there. Put the boot on so that way the grinding dust doesn't get in there. These are normally where your spacers would go for the alignment. In fact, here's one laying on the ground. We're not going to put any in there because we don't know where it's supposed to be yet, but that's how you would set your alignment on it. And basically, there's the front suspension on there minus the spring. Now we can run it through its travel here. See what kind of changes and stuff we have. It's a really good setup actually. Being that this car is lower than they had intended, we're gonna have to see where everything sets. These are taller control arms right now, which is a pretty common modification to do on these Chevelles. They might actually be bad for us. We're gonna have to see though. That side over there, if you want to go over there, Jake, that's where it's gonna be set up at ride height. But when we go later to put the body and set everything on it and the engine and everything in here, we'll be able to kind of have a roller. Be able to block that up with some wood instead of some springs and see where everything's gonna wind up.
We just about got the back all dialed in where we needed everything to be. We still got a ton of welding to do back here. Bobby's getting the whole front mocked up and everything right now. That'll all have to get blown apart once we do everything in paint. But when you mock everything up, you want to make sure all this stuff fits before you pull it apart to paint it. Otherwise, you have to get into paint before that. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. And wait till next time. We got a lot of really cool stuff coming up. We're going to get into paint and final welding here pretty quick. So don't forget to stay tuned for that.